The world was blurry and full of screams and roars. The boy was still seeing monsters in his dreams and tried to call out to his mother, but she wasn't there. Instead, an older man with green skin approached him, and the man was a Namekian, a race his parents had taught him about. They had lived with the boy's people, the Ceruleans, for a very long time, for centuries in fact.
"I am sorry, little one. Your mother is not here,"
the man said apologetically.
Where is she? Is she safe, mister?
The boy asked.
"I am afraid... Granolah, was it?"
Yes.
The boy replied.
"I was told by your mother to take care of you."
Is she coming back?
The boy asked persistently.
"I'm afraid not, my boy. I know this is hard for you, but I will do my best to keep you safe. My name is Monaito. You can call me..."
The boy started to cry, and Monaito knew that he was putting a lot on the young boy's shoulders right now. He wanted to tell him so much more, but he couldn't bring himself to do it. It would just break the boy's heart even more. Instead, he approached him and held him in a light embrace.
"You can call me Gramps if you want. It's just you and me now, boy. But we will survive. Just you and me."
The first weeks after the Saiyan invasion left planet Cereal particularly barren. Monaito had to scavenge for food, something that he wasn't very used to as a Namekian, since they didn't require food, just water. But he knew that it was important for Granolah. He did have that pretty good supply of water stashed to hand, so he knew that the boy wouldn't die. But he knew that a young being like Granolah would need a wide variety of good quality food in which to grow up to be big and strong. He even considered finding a starship and flying away from planet Cereal to find a new home for himself and the boy to live maybe more comfortably. But he didn't know where they would go, and most importantly, he didn't know how to fly a starship. It seemed, however, that the immediate danger on the planet had passed, but all that remained was silence. Houses ripped open, and there were motionless bodies laid out on the streets, just without a care. Monaito had lived on planet Cereal for centuries. He knew these people ever since they were born, and he knew their parents, and their parents, maybe even their parents. There were also dead Namekians. He could, in theory, try to ask Torombo, the dragon of the planet, to revive them all, but he didn't know what Torombo would ask of him in return. If you didn't have anything to give him in return, what he could offer you was pretty meager. He had heard the legends of the Namekian tribes that could bring people back from the dead without any trouble at all, no conditions, but he didn't think that he was powerful enough to make his own set of Dragonballs on a whim. The Torombo set he had been given last minute during the calamity. He slowly but surely told them about what had occurred on the planet while he was out cold, but he kept it simple. He said that evil people sent by the evil Emperor Lord Frieza had come to ravage the land. When the boy tried to ask about the man with the scar that had saved him and his mother, Monaito avoided the question.
"It must have been one of those invaders. Everything was happening so fast."
He didn't want the boy to think too much about Bardock and maybe unlock some hidden trauma. The boy was still having nightmares though, which caused Monaito to sleep on the floor next to him so he could immediately calm him down. Namekians could sleep by pure meditation. A lot then changed when the Heeters came, and to Monaito's surprise, they started to patch and rebuild the planet. But not out of the kindness of their own hearts. It was to sell it to the highest bidder. Monaito had tried to hide his presence, but one day he was accidentally seen by people working for Elec, the leader of the Heeters. But instead of capturing him, they just shrugged and didn't really think much of the old man. Survived, whatever. He learned that the planet had indeed been sold to, thankfully, a peaceful race, the Shigarians, who had recently themselves lost their own home. It was a rather poetic situation, in fact. A dramatic one, but poetic. If the Shigarians were going to be their neighbours, maybe just staying put was the right call after all. As the days passed, Monaito could see that the boy Granolah was feeling quite lonely. There were no other surviving children, and although Monaito was decent company, he tried his best to be a grandfather figure, it just simply wasn't enough. Luckily, the first Shigerians started examining the planet, although Elec's goons made sure to get rid of the, dead bodies and gore, and with them came more traders. Monaito didn't have that many valuable things to trade with, but there was one trader who was selling a custom-made robot that came his way. The seller was lamenting about this thing, because he had designed it for a Cerulean friend back in the day, but now there was no one to sell it to. It didn't work with any other people, it was made specifically for Ceruleans. The robot itself was a rather nifty invention, as it could serve as an extra pair of eyes, even though it just looked like a simple goggle, and it also had a personality of its own. Monaito used some of the goods that he had scavenged over the years to trade with a travelling merchant, who was happy to get something more in return, something more useful. And also he was kind of glad that it went to a Cerulean, so he did give Monaito a discount. When the old man returned home, he found Granolah sadly looking out the window, waiting for his return.
Hello, Granolah. I'm sorry that I took a little longer, but I have something for you. A gift, Monaito said.
A gift? Granolah almost forgot what it was like to receive presents. Well, thank you, Gramps. What is it?
If I understand correctly, this might be a new friend.
A friend? It looks like a pair of goggles.
Well, try them on.
Granolah did as he was told, and then a synthetic voice could be heard. Oh, what's that? Hello? Are you the new owner? Haven't been booted up in a while, the voice said. Wow, you're so cool, he said. Thank you kindly. So you're my new master, correct? The goggles asked. I am. Well, you're a new pal to start with. There are no masters here. I'm Granolah, and you are? The goggles pondered for a while. I don't think I have a designation. My maker considered naming me, but decided to make it a feature for the owner, which means that you can... Oatmeal, Granolah said firmly. Your name is Oatmeal.
I like it. There's a nice ring to it, Monaito said, smiling.
All right, so there I am. Oatmeal, the goggles said. The two became inseparable. Monaito was happy, as it made the boy much more active. He even found some nifty training programs that allowed him to train his natural abilities. After just a few years, Granolah started using Oatmeal to capture petty criminals for the Shigerians, really giving himself a good reputation with them. And it also earned him a small amount of fame as the youngest bounty hunter in the sector. Unfortunately, it also attracted the attention of Elec and the Heeters, something Monaito had been dreading. So, he's the bounty hunter who's been making waves, eh? Elec seemed mildly impressed.
Why are you here, Elec? You cannot take Granolah, Monaito said, trying to protect the boy.
As if you can do anything to stop us if we wanted to, he said with a smirk.
The boy thinks it was luck that he survived. He does not know what really happened on that cursed day.
I'm guessing you didn't tell him that I killed his mother.
If the boy knew the truth, he'd run with some half-baked plan for revenge. He'd get himself killed, so no.
Good. And you'll keep that mouth shut, you old coot. Because the second you blab, both of your lives are over, he said, trying to threaten Monaito. These words startled the old man, which clearly gave Elec a great deal of satisfaction. Next, Elec called in on Granolah, who was training underneath a cliff. Surprisingly, he was training without Oatmeal. He himself had been left at home to recharge. Hey kid, come on over, Elec said, nodding toward the boy. Who are you? Granolah asked. We've heard the tales. They say that you've got skills. Why don't you come and work for me and show me? Whilst Monaito was worried, he tried not to show it. In the end, this paid off. Not only was Granolah quickly trained up, but he also got a ship of his own, and managed to earn enough cash to allow him and Monaito to no longer live in squalor, move out of their little shack, and into a much nicer home. During his service for Elec, the Cerulean learned in greater detail about the scary monkey people that he dreamed of almost every night. They were called Saiyans. They were employed by Frieza himself, only to be wiped out by a comet not long ago. As much as Granolah would have loved to have gotten his revenge on them, he did at least appreciate that there was some sort of universal justice going on. The only thing that kept him awake now was the one with the scar and spiky hair. He was different. Maybe his mind just made him up, but it was hard to forget all the same. Frieza was still a problem, but Elec told him that his wish to kill Frieza was not unique. Everybody wanted to do it. And if anyone was capable of such a feat, they would have done it by now. However, it was impossible due to Frieza being just too gosh darn powerful. Or was it? Many years later, the galaxy was a hubbub about the news of Frieza's death. First there was this, and then 3 years later, King Cold, his father, was also gone. Granolah remembered Elec's mood being ambivalent about this. On one hand, he was pleased about the Emperor's demise, but on the other, well, there was a lack of news of how and who it irritated him, and whether or not they'd come for him next. For the over 20 years that he worked for the Heeters, he knew that his employer liked to know things, and not knowing things was the worst thing imaginable. But for Granolah, this also meant that he would never get to fulfill his revenge, and because of that he grew apathetic, bringing money home, keeping away from the Shigerians, and everything became routine. But one fateful day, Monaito couldn't take it anymore, and this is where things start to diverge.
Granolah, I have to tell you something.
It's about the TV again. Alright, I'll show you again how you can access the Shigerian streaming service.
No, Granolah, I have lied to you.
Lied to me?
I didn't want to put it all on you when you were a child, but I can no longer watch you working for Elec and risking your life for this scum and you having no life of your own. You see, when you were a little boy...
A scream, and then a shot, and then a body. Limp. Falling down. The man with the scar yells something at Monaito. Monaito knocks him down. They drag him away, the empty look in his mother's eyes. Why didn't you tell me earlier? So it wasn't a Saiyan.
The man with the scar, the one I wanted you to forget, named Bardock, saved both of our lives. I even have his scouter to honor his memory.
Give me it! Granolah grabbed the device and considered smashing it in his hand right there and then, but... no, it could have answers. Give him some clues.
Granolah, please, do not go after Elec. Gas is still way out of your league. Leave me alone, Monaito. Granolah, please. I had no choice. I was only trying to protect you. I want to be alone!
The Cerulean yelled and walked out toward his ship. After a very long and awkward pause, Oatmeal allowed himself to speak. Does that include me as well? No. You can stay and help me parse through all of this. They both analyzed the recordings. It seemed like, yes, yeah, this Bardock fellow was strangely honorable for a Saiyan. Quite barbaric, but yeah, Monaito was right. Granolah did owe him his life. It was hard not to feel that he had messed up badly. He was a little child. He didn't know better. He couldn't react differently. But it was he who had messed up and ultimately led to the death of his mother. What are we going to do now? You're not going to go in all guns blazing to Elec's throne room, are you? The Cerulean looked at the scouter. No, that would be stupid. I need some allies first. Any ideas? Well, I was just thinking. Someone killed Frieza and his father, right? The Heeters were working for Frieza, right? Maybe that someone would be interested to know that there are still all allies of Frieza operating. It's a long shot, but yes, we could try it. I'm gonna go to work as usual, and then, well, I'll try to get some intel. It did take him time to get said intel, but Granolah was a very good bounty hunter, and he had managed to find a potential ex-Frieza Force member. The rumors had it that this man was on Namek just before the Emperor's demise. He was now in hiding, as the Galactic Patrol were pursuing him. But Granolah, he had his sources. The man's name was Cranberry, and he was drinking his sorrows away in a seedy bar located at one of the border outposts. Granolah approached him, and he could see fear starting to flow up into his eyes. Don't worry, big guy, I'm not here for you. But I can buy you a drink if you want. You can maybe answer me some questions in return.
Bounty hunter? Who are possibly a... What do you want with me?
As the bartender handed over the drinks, Granolah looked at him coolly. You were on Namek, weren't you? Cranberry looked away, with his vision clouded.
I'm not talking about that.
Talk to me or I'll blow your head off.
I was dead and then I wasn't. That's it. I know how it sounds, but there was a dragon.
Dragon? Granolah remembered the stories of Monaito's homeworld and dragons being involved. It was a hard time for the old man to try and learn that the cradle of his race was found only to have been destroyed. And then there was that whole Dragon Ball business. I don't care about that. For now, I want to know who killed Frieza. Cranberry didn't respond. Who killed Frieza?
He was a Super Saiyan.
You think I'm stupid? All the Saiyans are dead. Cranberry laughed unpleasantly.
He thought so too, but some survived. The prince was in his service, but rebelled at some point. I even escaped in his old pod, but no. The prince wasn't the one who killed him. Let me show you who did.
Cranberry took off his scouter and threw it toward Granolah. What he saw with that updated scouter shocked him endlessly. He saw a man transforming into that golden radiating being, seen by Cranberry from afar. But what was interesting for Granolah was that man looked like Bardock. I mean, it had to be. He had no Saiyan armor, though, but the hair? It was identical. I assume this man died with the planet.
Oh no, he survived. And so did Frieza. King Cold had him rebuilt with cybernetics, and they then went to his own planet, the one that Saiyan was hiding on. They wanted revenge, but they went missing soon afterward. We just presumed he was dead. I mean, it's kind of obvious what happened.
What is the name of the planet?
What's it worth to you?
Cranberry gave Granolah a crooked smile. The bounty hunter put some space zenny on the table.
Earth. The planet's called Earth.
Granolah nodded. Earth. He had never heard the name before, but if Bardock, the Bardock, who saved his life, was still there, maybe he could help him with the heaters. He was sure of it.
I'm done with you. What? You want to try and kill some Saiyans for invading your homeworld or something?
Cranberry slowly put back on his scouter after Granolah handed it back. None of your business. As Granolah walked away. He passed a very ostentatious galactic patroller who immediately ran toward Cranberry.
Aha! I finally got you, ruffian! You have nowhere to run! You have been cornered by a super elite—
The bounty hunter didn't care to see this thing play out. He didn't feel particularly bad for his parting gift to Cranberry. His anonymous call to the patrol just helped to rid the galaxy of the scum working for Frieza. Good. But what was important was he now had a goal. He had to get to Earth to find Bardock, or his allies. If anyone could help him against the Heeters, it was him. And that's where we're going to be leaving things for right now.